Well, I address some topics about some things that I go on right here in my home. And let me say this, that when a problem goes ignored that long, first off, the first thing I think about is like how it got to this point. I think about maybe some reasonable things, like when I'm dealing with kids that have been abused or sexually abused, and our bills start to pile up, and medical things are going on that we have no control over right now, and we've dealt with cars being stolen. We don't have anyone here moderating some of the problems. Dad had passed away, and the problems start to build up over a period of time. And basically, long story short of it, we're held in situations where we have nowhere to turn. So it looks to me like when we end up like hitting the proverbial brick wall, and that's really what it is. It's like, there's only so much we can do. And what happens is I have a neighbor here upset and comes over here and tells me that the electric company got this one upset. And I mean, you see the kind of vicious cycle we're in. And one of the things I think, because we're limited on how much we can do, we have a disability, and some of us have memory problems, and because of all the other things that accumulate, it's hard to remember stuff. And that's kind of why I know is this is mostly stress related. So the only answer and solutions, instead of getting somebody upset, is just calmly say, I don't know for sure, but that's one of the ways to diffuse these issues. It would be better for somebody, instead of getting somebody upset and riled up, to say, is there, polite way to say, I don't know where this address is. May I, drop this off, or could you drop this off? Because I'm not sure where you know, the actual apartment is. And there are things that can be resolved real simply just by diffusing an argument. When I see somebody visibly upset and shook up, that's the first thing I think of. Like, there's got to be a way to talk about this without getting somebody so shook up. That's why we go through this routinely, like how to communicate, how to have effective listening skills, how to be assertive without sounding like we're coming off hard. And that's one of the things, is that once people kind of smooth things out, you realize when somebody's obviously hungry, angry, lonely, and tired, halt. And those are kind of the key signs, how to like get, do an inventory of ourselves daily. And that's kind of what we go through when we're by ourselves. And one of the biggest, and I know this is true of all of us, if we're by ourselves way too long, we start to let our stinking thinking take over. So one of the good things is that when we get outside and the weather's nice and you start getting things done, things have a tendency to kind of level off. But the mornings have been rough. A lot of us have difficulties in the daytime, so it just depends on what type of day we're having. So I don't want to be nasty and rude. I just want things to kind of calm down. I realize we take on a lot more. The weekends can be kind of hectic with no one home to help out, especially being on my own. So, when the desk looks like that, and my wall looks like this, you can see the proverbial wall we've been hitting. And, so things kind of need to clean up, and it's nice to get chores done. And with us being strapped with cash the way we've been since Jordan's car accident, it's kind of been really like this. So we're trying to resolve these issues gradually. I wish everything was done overnight. I wish we could raise another $10,000. It just doesn't work that way. Not with two family members disabled and some of the injuries we're dealing with. So I mean, I'm doing the best I can, and I'm doing the best I can with what I know. And it's got to that point where, like, I again feel like I hit this wall. I can only do so much. So I'm doing the best I can. I'm disabled as well, so there are struggles we have that we get overwhelmed, and it's just one of those days where we can diffuse it a little bit and just kind of time out for each other, time out to talk to somebody, time out to spend some time going out to dinner or going out to a movie or doing something other than dealing with problems. Some of these people start pushing people's buttons and you get them upset, And before you know it, we don't have any activities, and then we end up in, worse situations. So the best way to diffuse it is just not talk to some individuals, and just mind our business and go do something else. Because really, it's got to the point I can only do so much. I don't know anybody else that's going to sit around waiting for somebody to show up when they were supposed to show up, and making plans and just ignoring us. So I got to go do things for myself. And that proverbial wall is kind of the wall we've been hitting. I mean, the only time I ever saw some of these people is when we had money. So now that we don't have money and we're broke, and it just gets to the point where we get used. And that's what Jordan said. And I'm upset. So